Okay, skill trees. I know a few of you have asked for this, of what my skill tree looks like, and I'm sure some others are likely curious. So let's go over my skill trees for Techter Hunter for NGS. I want to preface by saying that this is an early skill tree, so, this is not the holy grail. And I think even with the amount of skills that we have right now, we couldn't even get there anyway. Let's really just use this as a guide and something to think about. And let's go through my decisions on why I've selected the skills that I have. We'll start with Techter. So once again, I use Wand, Wired Lances, and Partisan, just to keep things, understanding of why I'm doing certain things. Shift to D-Band is self-explanatory. It's a main class skill. It's a free 5% damage increase, 10% damage reduction. Can't go wrong with that. Now, Shift to D-Band Party Share, I only take that because of Shift to D-Band extension. I've noticed that sometimes that 60 seconds is a little short, and so for that quality of life, I've decided for now going with that 180 seconds. Do I feel that it's absolutely necessary and it's just something I need to get used to? We'll see. So these two right now, I might change in the future. If you look at Shifta, the effect duration is 60 seconds and the cooldown of 15 seconds. So I'm trying to figure out, do I just need to get better at recasting it? We'll see. Then we have our Shifta down damage increase. So basically when an opponent is down, you increase your damage by 5%. It's a damage increase. I'm Techter using Wand, and so I'm going to likely have a lot of down statuses. Let's get that damage bonus while I'm doing it. And specifically the damage bonus, we also increase the chances of a down status happening or down accumulation. So these two skills are essentially hand in hand. But then we go into D-Band PP. This one, to be completely honest, I'm not too sure I need this. I put it in there just for now, just to get a sense of, is this doing anything or can I be putting this elsewhere? So we'll see as time passes. Now this one, the D-Band status resistance, I think this one will be important. And so I put a point in there and I plan on this point staying there. Even though I haven't yet received the status effect, something tells me they're going to be something you want to avoid. And so reducing the chances by 15% is not bad. At least it's something. And then we have the party revive. So this is if you revive someone, they keep Shifta and D-Band. I'm not too sure how important this is. It was very important in PSO2, but when you have a press of a button shift to D-Band every 15 seconds, I'll see. I'm putting this one now because I'm preparing for the Gigantics that come in the next couple of weeks where people might be dying a lot. And so that 15-second cooldown might not be enough to keep everyone's shift and D-Band up. So that's why I keep that one there. So really the ones I'm on the fence about is the PP recovery from D-Band, the party share, and the extension. Other than that, these other three might stay. Now the wand skills, I'm not going to go too much into wand skills because if you're playing wand Techter, you're going to need these skills. Wand Lover is basically super armor, plus it allows you to deflect attacks if you time your normal attacks correctly. So that's just great. Wand Element and all these other rings, these are wand parry skills. These are important if you're going to be maining wands. I don't want to spend too much time on them. Get them. And I would say prioritize. These things are great, but this is heavy damage that you want to prioritize early. Then we'll move into the rest of the field. This is just nice. It's another main class ability. Might as well get it. And it increases my healing rate, so I can reduce my use of rest assigns, which is just an overall plus. And then slow landing charge is great because when I do photon archer techniques in the air, I need to control that air mobility. I don't need to be dropping like a rock. This is essentially something that is a necessity for any class, depending on a couple of things, but at a basic level, any class. So now let's move on to the photon blast skills. I have 1 point in each because if you notice, weak elemental bonus at level 1 for Techter main, 110%. So I increase my photon blast gauge 10%, or the rate in which it increases by 10% when attacking an enemy's elemental weakness. You'll notice every additional point after that only gives 2%, 2%. And then once you get to level 5, it gives 2% at level 2, and then diminishing returns after there. And then we look at Awake Yell. While it's only 5 points, it gives 10% level 1. And then it climbs to 20% level 5. I'm not too sure how valuable putting additional points into this is. As you noticed, after level 2, diminishing returns. And so I'm asking myself, what is this going to buy me? Right now at level 1 for both of these, when I'm fighting a urgent quest boss or a hardened enemy, I can usually get 2 photon blasts off. If I were to put more points into this, will I get more photon blasts? Will I just ensure that I get 2? And when we look at Awake Yell, this is boss or tough enemy dependent. So I can't control this as much as I can elemental weak bonus. But do I put all these points in elemental weak bonus because is it a law of diminishing returns, and do I just keep it at level 1? And that's basically the gift I'm given for being a Techter main. I'll have to think about it. If anything, I would put 4 points into this at level 15 and call it a day. But I feel like level 2 is probably good here, and then putting additional points into the boss version, that actually might pan out. But of course, as you notice, I've got 2 skills left for Techter. I'm trying to figure out if I need anything from Talus. I don't think I do, but I haven't explored it yet, so I'm saving those 2 points just to be sure. And so I've got 2 points. If I remove a point from D-Band PP, D-Band Party Share, D-Band Extension, which I don't know if I should, and Revive bonus, I'll get an additional, 6 points? All things considered, I have to think about that. I might just remove D-Band PP and Revive. I don't know. This is something I have to think about. But if I do that, then I would just put 1 point into there, another couple of points into there. And actually, that probably makes sense. That might be the most ideal spot, but I have to think about that and really understand what is my photon blast gauge doing. Anyway, let's move on to Hunter. Now, once again, I use wired lances and partisans when I play Techter Hunter, in addition to wand. And specifically, I only use wired lances for its weapon action. So that's going to play a big role in the skills. Well, not really a big role, but it's going to play a role in what I decided to choose. Partisan is definitely a main damage weapon that I pair with wand, and so it gets more of a focus. But we start with Photon Art Avenger. You actually need this because you can't get to the partisan skills unless you take it. So that kind of gives you an idea of how Photon Art Avenge and partisan work together. But anyway, for those who don't know, just quickly going through, Photon Art Avenge, if you release a Photon Art and while taking damage, you will increase the power of that Photon Art. But you will still take a hit, so it doesn't guard the damage. And that's why you need Perfect Hunter Parry. Because what happens is, essentially, if you release a Photon Art right when you're about to take a hit, you will guard that damage. You will trigger Photon Art Avenge, and you won't take any damage. So these two are just going to be important, regardless of whether you're playing Sword, Wire Lance, or Partisan. If you're going to use any of these weapons, you're going to have to use this anyway. But then we go down to Assault Buster. Now, it's called Assault Charge, but essentially it's the same move, Assault Buster in PSO2, and you can hold or charge this move. So it's weird when you say charged Assault Charge. That can get confusing. But essentially how this works is, after using a Partisan Photon Art, you can follow up with Assault Buster. We'll get into this later in a Partisan video, but I can tell you right now, this is going to be one of your main damage dealers. You're going to really need to understand how to use this effectively, but we'll get into more of that in another video. In addition, you can give Photon Art Avenge to Assault Buster. So if you trigger Photon Art Avenge with a Partisan PA, when you follow it up with Assault Buster, it will also get that Photon Art Avenge damage boost. So it's just super important. These are the two main skills for Partisan. It gets a little weird, but like this is Partisan in a nutshell, which kind of says maybe this is why Volgraptor kind of got the short end of the stick. We'll see. Then this is Photon Avenge PP gain. So every time you trigger a Photon Art Avenge, you get plus 10 PP. So as you can see, I Photon Art Avenge with a Partisan PA, 10 PP. And then my Assault Buster gets Photon Art Avenge, 10 PP. So you can start seeing the synergies there. Volgraptor, it's a Partisan skill. It's not that great, at least right now. I'm not too sure what's going on with it, but there's a lot of skill points that I have in the Hunter tree, so I got it anyway. We'll see how this changes as time goes on. The Wired Lance skill that's most important is the Wired Lance Advanced Guard action. So basically, when you're ziplining like Spider-Man or Batman, if you time it correctly, you can guard or negate an enemy attack. So you can imagine an enemy is about to hit me. I'm going to Wire Lance and gap close, and I'm going to avoid taking hits while I do it. This other one, I forget what the name is, but essentially it allows you to change the properties of the Wired Lance by holding a directional input. I had additional points, so I just wanted to play around and see what it does. I don't use it much, but then again, I need to explore with it more. It also gets the benefits of the guard action if you time your guard weapon action correctly. I don't use sword, so I don't take sword skills. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't use Wired Lance for its Photon Arts or its normal attack, so I didn't need Wired Lance 5th hit. In addition, for Partisan, I pair it with the multi-weapon Wand, and I use Wand as the normal attacks for the elemental bonuses. And so because of that, I didn't need same Hunter Arts or another Hunter Arts to skip my normal attack strings. I don't use normal attacks. These points are useless for me. Now, Warcry and Iron Will, self-explanatory, main class skills. So we have Massive Hunter, and we have Flash Guard. I've got points to spare. I'm going to put those points into it. When I pop Massive Hunter, it's a nice 25% damage reduction. When I pop, I don't have to pop Flash Guard. Flash Guard's always up. It's a nice 5%. Is it great? Not really, but I've got points to spare. All Guard, I'm not too sure actually if it's working for me because it should for Wired Lance, but for Partisan not so much because Partisan does not have a weapon action guard, but we'll see. And of course, to finish it off, Hunter's Slow Landing Charge. This is just, great for air mobility, even though I use wand attacks in the air. By the chance I do use a weapon from Hunter that is in the air, I won't drop like a rock. This is just something that in most cases you're going to want to have. And depending on your build, you'll probably have enough skill points that it's not going to matter. And so just wanted to quickly go through my skill tree. Nothing crazy. There's not a lot of skills. You really can't go wrong as long as you stick to what your weapons are doing and understand how you're using them, what skills you need, what skills you don't need, so on and so forth. Especially these two. I don't use normal attacks for the Hunter weapons. I don't need these. Now, if that changes, we'll go back to the drawing board and see what we want to do. But other than that, of course, if there's any questions, leave them in the comments. I hope this was helpful and informative, or at least helps you think about what you want to do, whether it's going to be Hunter and Techter or another class. And until next time.